All right. Video number 146. Yeah. My name is Morty, building the space elevator. I guess, well, not I guess. What I want to talk about today and get into this is really the past few weeks have been all back and forth, and I think everything is just there's a lot and good and not so good and everything in between. And I just really want to talk about because this channel has been all over the place. Everything's been all over the place and in a good way, right? Like there's a lot of great progress and a lot of different things. So I think I want to talk about this channel, like really what in my head it is and what I wanted to keep being and kind of the point in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I guess okay. So there's obviously a lot of benefits, and I think many things in general that I do. I'm just gonna talk for myself. I don't know if everyone's like this or not, but yeah, that's how it is. Uh, Many things that I do, right? It's I have a few reasons for doing it. It makes sense because of a few different things, right? It's not just one. And then as you do it, things start aligning. Right? So you start sort of seeing patterns between everything that you're doing, and everything is kind of, in this web of your reality. And I think it's like that with everyone, but this channel, the videos, right? I realize they do a lot. There's a lot of things that come out of it. And now, obviously, the number one main that I keep saying is it's telling the story, right? And as good of a storyteller as I am, or as much as 15 minutes a day when it's not being planned, it's not structured too well. There's nothing to it that's saying, okay, it's going to have a good record of the story. It may have the right parts of this. There may be a lot of things that I think about or that happen throughout the day that I don't specifically speak about in these 15 minutes, and then those just never get recorded and or at least here, right? So this may not be a complete story at the end of the day, but I think what importantly tells is also the emotion side. Again, as much as being, being human is having emotion when you do business, when you do something high, anything at a level, but essentially business like this, you have to forget the human aspect in some ways, right? There has to be focus on the goals. There has to forget about, right? Like you're saying, it's not about my feelings, it's not about my emotions. I could be sick and hurting, but I have to get up and do this because it has to happen. And the people it relies on those people. And that becomes that. So it's a good way to show that this channel is. It also adds again from a maybe personal perspective, a little bit of a diary writing where I can share some thoughts on a regular basis. The reason I want to put it out here again is number one, the on the off chance that the right person sees this can help. I think that's huge. I think that, I mean, and again, it can help many people maybe. I don't know, but it's not getting anywhere and it's not high production. It's not meant to be. The point is that I don't want to spend time on it. I don't want to sit and spend a few hours editing the video or making sure it's good. The point is, these are 15 minutes. These are my thoughts right now. Let's do this every day. And then as things progress and as things happen, the story will progress and things will change. So there's that. Um, but yeah, again, I hope it helps someone, right? I hope the story and like I said in the beginning and we'll keep saying throughout, right? I don't know where this is going to end. It's a mega project. There's so many different moving parts. There's so many things that I cannot control. But I know I'm going to keep working on it until I break, right? And I hope and very much believe that that'll happen after the space elevator is built and in many years. But regardless, it's going to have a lot of great lessons. It's going to be a lot of stuff that happen, and those will be attempts. There'll be things that I am and my team and we're trying to do to make happen at the highest level we can, right? With using everything we can, and having all the right knows and the thought process and the understanding of it at every level, right? And that is going to tell something because there will be some kind of result. And even if that's a failure for a reason, and then that reason can be learned from and done better the next time. So, right. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know where everything is gonna go. There's so many things, and I think that's getting me a little dizzy. And like I keep saying to people right now, maybe this is kind of the most stressful it's been, and in a good way, right? I know that it's gonna keep getting busier and harder, and yeah, it's going to keep getting further, and yeah, it's just you got to get through it and master it and learn how to get good at handling higher levels of different things going on, and that's yeah, it's good. It's just again, and just something from a perspective at this point, I guess, sometimes, and it's not a bad, yeah, it just seems like some of the ideas that have maybe are a little bit too much, and I don't know, because sometimes to me some stuff feel a little bit outlandish and a little bit crazy, and then I just tell it to people, and people aren't coming back and saying that it is, and that makes you question, am I crazy, or are people just too scared to admit that? Like, I don't know. So there are definitely different things to see, and time will tell. Obviously, these yeah. Hopefully, I can keep making these videos. Again, have become a little bit more spontaneous. Just have had some personal things yesterday. Yesterday was I had a meeting with someone who really was not interested, which was the first time in quite a while, really, where I really met someone that was not well, very negative on the, and I guess not even negative. I can't really say that because he was pushing it up a little bit. He was saying it's a good idea and or the work, but he wasn't. Yeah, maybe kind of negative and just like you don't know what you're doing type. Um, which was good. It's good to rethink things and to see things over. Um, yeah, so I think that was refreshing in an interesting way. I think I'm gonna have another meeting with them. We schedule like set schedule and see where it goes. Right? It's not. It's about I really do feel so right that there's always a chance to partner. There's always a way to find a mutually beneficial partnership with whatever it is that your goals are. But that's the work. The work is to find that and figure out what that is. And with some people, they don't want to talk to you or don't want to figure it out because there's a lot of drama, right? There's a lot of feelings and emotion involved in business and in anything. Yeah, again, it's just smiling. I feel like there is that face, and I want to put on a exciting thing. I think it's going very well. There's obviously a lot of like I keep saying very well, and well is not that's not definable. It doesn't have a real value. It's going well because I feel like it's going well, but it's in truth we're not hitting some of the metrics. Well, we don't have the metrics really set hard yet, and I think that's part of what we're trying to do, but. At the same time, I do feel like a little bit I'm losing the team, but then there's new people that are excited, so it's kind of that mix. I think communication is becoming a lot harder than I thought it would be. It's just another okay, just yeah, I guess now it's kind of the end of the year. I did a write up in our newsletter about what we've accomplished this year. So there's a lot of big things there, but I guess now from a more personal perspective, where I feel like things are going. Yeah, the team. Honestly, I thought after the trip to Japan, and after traveling and being there, we would get closer together. I don't know if there was something I'm doing wrong, or it could just be a bad time. And again, I think maybe a big part of me always says this that my mind works at a incredible pace. It just doesn't stop. And then on top of that, I'm working for 13 hours on average, so that's a day. So that becomes this. There's just a lot of things getting done to the point that I'm always looking for the next. And then, yeah, and then always looking for the next. It's sometimes to get ahead of it. I get ahead of the game. I'm like, this should already be happening, but it isn't. And then yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. Again, yeah, look, everything's a work in progress. I'm sure we'll get better and better and better, and that's exactly how it goes. But the question is, where are the issues, or are they imagined? And then in that case, that becomes something I have to fix. Where okay, now I have to fix how I think or how just relax a little bit. So that's there. Um, yeah, I guess this is very internal, but there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good value to having this, especially now that now we can have machines we can train on a lot of data to really understand all of it or start really, piecing it together. And even if, feed transcripts of all this, there's value there of just what happened or what's being said. Because again, the choice of words or the specific direction that the thought goes matters because that says where the mind's going or even if it makes even if it makes no sense, even if it doesn't have so much rhythm or whatever story, connection, whatever. Either way, um, other things, I think that seems to think in terms of success though, good things, right? Good things that are happening. I think there's a lot of great support, and that's good. Um, I would say there's a lot more ghosting than I thought, than I would ever have expected, honestly. Way too many people have just ghosted me in business, which is just weird. It's an interesting thing to understand. But again, these people that are supporting are amazing. Um, yeah, the idea is growing. So that side, the mark, we have something, and I think that's the main, really that first hardest step is having something because you can scale things once you have them. We have to have them, and then you have to, yeah. And I just hope we're getting the right, the right people and everything now that it keeps changing the team. Yeah, again, there's so many things that I think could be wrong, and at the same time, there's so many things that you could say are right. So you can make a case for anything, and everything is about that. It's just we have to see where. Yeah, I think again, there's some of these key points that need to really happen or just start. Yeah, we need to start closing these deals. We need to start again. Yeah, okay. I think the communication, right? That's a tough thing. It's becoming tougher. And again, as much as I mean, not as much. I think very important, and I really value the fact that we communicate across different. The fact that we communicate across different like walks of life and everyone's has their own interesting perspectives because that adds so much value to like decision making. But at the same time, the fact that we're in different places, like the language barrier, honestly, I haven't found that to be that hard, even though sometimes people feel like it's hard. It's just a little slower. Like you have to explain things slower and you have to think more about what you're saying. You can't use any slang, you can't use any things like that. So that becomes a little bit of a vocabulary shift. But the the that's pretty easy, but the time zones are pretty difficult, and then cultural differences sometimes are a little bit too. So that's that's where the harder issues are. But again, working through them and figuring it out is what this is, right? It's really about adaptability. It's about I was talking to someone yesterday about like VCs and trying to connect there, and we're saying it's like I said previously, right? But you're investing in the idea first. The idea has to make sense. It has to be sound, and I can show and believe it is. And then after that, it comes down to the person. And after that, it's okay, will you be able to do what you say you're doing? And then if you want to think one step further than that, that's about adaptive. Can you move? Can you pivot? Can you find the right way to be successful? Doesn't matter how, right? You know you have a plan, but plans can happen and they can fail. That's a plan and it's great. And that's the direction you're gonna start. But things happen and you have to know that as things happen, you're ready for them and able to move with them and roll with the punches. And yeah, that's the I guess it's exciting, but at the same time it becomes okay, this is kind of one of the punches, so how do we get past that and how do we get beyond that? And again, I'm very confident that we will and very much believe we will, but I think sharing this emotion, sharing this part of it is important, and seeing how this ends and seeing how it comes up is also very important. Of course, any help or thoughts if you are watching this in the now. Although again, that's what this story will be. It'll be a very interesting reality. And again, we're building the space elevator. We're doing something that'll we know will be the next transistor. It's and I believe there's a few things like this. I think we're at a point like that where advancement has increased and the rate of advancement has increased so much that there's so many different world-changing things coming out one after the next, and they will keep working. But again, we've also scaled the possible productivity of humanity a millionfold with transistors or computers or yeah. So we need to keep doing more, and we should keep doing more, and we will keep doing more. But yeah, a big part of it is this, and then that's this is what we're working on, and that's it. That this is just this part of the project, and it's interesting to frame it, interesting to see it, and then to again be part of it or understand it that while it's happening, and then follow it and help it throughout. So either way, hope you enjoyed. Hope it's made some sense. I think this was in a little bit of groundwork of what this channel really means, I guess. But yeah, good luck.